This is a quick way to change the appearance of flat panel doors. I pin nailed this wood trim to the face of the door. I bought this trim at Home Depot. It's about 3/4 of an inch by about 3/16 thick. It's already got a little bit of a rounded edge to it, which is nice. I just 45'd the corners and built a jig so I could put it all in the same place on each door. The dimensions are how I space this, and you can put yours on however you want on the door. I decided to do 2 squares. The top square is larger because the doorknob doesn't sit in the center of the door. It sits a little bit lower. So the top square is larger than the bottom square. I decided to do 5 inches of spacing on each side of the door. So there's 5 inches there, and there's 7 inches here, which doors are not all identical in height, but for me, it worked out to be about 7 inches on the bottom and about 7 inches on the top as well. So 7 on the horizontals and 5 on the verticals. The jig that I built, I had pieces on the back of my jig. It was just it's a T-shaped jig, and I'll show you that right now. It's on this door here. So I bought a piece of 4 foot by 2 foot 1/4 inch MDF board. I wanted something thinner and lighter, and then I just cut it in the shape of the T. So there's my 7-inch portion here, and then the 5 inches going up and down. I've started the top portion of this door and using this jig. So since I have the support from the jig across the bottom here and across this left side, I went ahead and nailed those in all the way. By the way, I'm using this inexpensive pin nailer from Harbor Freight, which was like $25. Of course, that was about 6 months ago, so it's probably $50 now. But this piece here on the far right, I only put 1 nail in the bottom so that I can still pivot it. So it's loose. This piece across the top, I also just put 1 nail in the top. So as you can see, they're both free to move here. That will allow me to just line them up. Sorry for the shaky camera, I'm doing this with one hand. So that will allow me to line these 2 up and then put a nail in. Here's the back side of that jig. So I put a board along the bottom, a 3/4 inch board. It's actually a leftover of the pieces that I put on the door. So that's 3/4 of an inch wide. I put that as a guide so that I can put it right up against the side of the door. This little piece in the center there is right where the doorknob is. So I measured where my doorknob locations were, factored in the 3/4 of an inch that I was offsetting for this piece, and cut that little piece there just slightly smaller than the doorknob hole opening. That way, when I put it against the door, it will do 2 things for me. One, it will center it in the right place on the doorknob, and also hold it in place until I can put little clamps on. My measurements, I did 35 inches long on these uprights. Now this is for my door. You'll want to measure your door, but this is just how it worked for me. 35 inches long on these uprights for the top part, 25 inches long on the uprights for the bottom part. This is a 36-inch wide door, so I've got 5 inches on each side. So I took 10 inches off and cut the horizontal pieces at 26 inches. And that's 26 inches to your long point. So hopefully that helps somebody. It's a good way to dress up a otherwise pretty plain looking door for relatively cheap, and a lot cheaper than buying all new doors. So thanks and good luck on your projects.